Racing. If you're lucky enough to experience the thrill of it, it will get in your blood and consume you. There is no feeling in the world like hanging onto a speeding collection of steel frame, rubber, and mechanical genius at the absolute limit and battling it out on track with other determined competitors. What makes a driver? What is the common thread that runs through this field of risk-takers who believe they can reach the top? I'm Cadence Presley, a 12-year-old racing driver with a dream of winning the Indy 500. I'm here to crack the code by talking with dreamers like myself who are driven to chase the impossible dream. To be the best. After starting in karts at a young age in Colorado and a long break, Wyatt Brichacek dove headfirst back into racing by climbing the Formula ladder with J. Howard Driver Development, joining the road to Indy. This year, Wyatt is making the move to Asian Le Mans, piloting an LMP3. My first interview with a driver that I don't personally know, even though he grew up a few miles from me. I'm excited to talk with Wyatt, so let's get into it. Alright everyone, this is Wyatt Brichacek. He is a road to Indy driver and going to be an endurance driver pretty soon. So welcome to the show, Wyatt.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I'm glad you're here. So first of all, how old were you when you first discovered the sport of racing? Tell me about your first experiences and how that's led to you chasing this dream.
Yeah, so I've kind of been around it my whole life. My parents, they had me in Indiana, and I was born in Indiana, so I've been going to the Indy 500 since I was born, really. And we've been watching it on TV. And one day, we moved here actually when I was 6 or 7, and then one day after watching the Indy 500 or an IndyCar race, I was just like, I kind of want to try that. And you know, my dad was on board, and we took the next step, which was to go karting. And you know, I got my first go-kart when I was 8, and then from there on, that's kind of where it started. You know,
that's really funny because that's a similar way how I started. I was watching Formula 1, and then one race, I was like, I finally realized that I could do that for a living. I was like, wait a minute, hey Dad, can I do that? It was really fun because when he took me to my first indoor race, he saw something, and we just kept going and going and going, and then things went on from there.
Yeah, it's such a cool experience when you and your, like for us it was our dads, and for other people with their families, it's cool to just get that first experience in of like going to the track, and you kind of realize, you know, this is something I want to do for the rest of my life, and this is where I want to be. So
I was a little nervous at first because of the noise. It was really like louder than the vacuum cleaner, and that was really loud at my age.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, anyways, speaking of karting, can you talk about karting and how that's shaped you as a driver?
Yeah, so when we started, we didn't know the ins and out of racing. We started here in Colorado. At the time, I think it was called the Colorado Junior Karting Club.
Yeah, exactly.
Back in the day. So we started in that, and we just kind of started from the ground up, you know, every year progressing. And it was really good to just go through those steps and kind of learn how to drive and how to race. And it really kind of teaches you, you know, just what you need to know for the future. And it was cool just to experience that, like I said, with my family and with my dad, and we would camp out at the tracks, and it just gives those feelings of like, you know, this is a family sport, and that's kind of just all the time we've spent. And when you finally get those wins and you get those championships, it's just so much greater because it's a team sport, and you have your family behind you, you have your team behind you, and it just feels so good.
What was it like making the move to cars, and specifically Formula cars?
Yeah, so I think the goal was always to go into Formula. We started out wanting to go to IndyCar, and we didn't really know where to go from there, from karting into open wheel. And like I said, that was kind of where we struggled a bit, was we didn't have the experience to know what the right direction is, because there's so many options you can take in Formula cars. There's like F1600, there's Skip Barber, Lucas Oil, F4. There's countless different routes you can take, and it was kind of a stressful decision. But once we finally landed on those schooling series, like I started in Skip Barber. I did my first days in the Skip Barber 3-day school and 2-day school, and just to get that experience, it was nerve-wracking at first, because you know there's so much more in cars than there is in karts. You're not just using the brake and throttle, you also have to shift, and you have to think about the mirrors.
That's my favorite part. About the move, about the switch, the shifting makes it a whole lot more immersive.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was great. For me, it was a little bit stressful because when I first got into Skip Barber, they were still on the manual. Like, it was still the sequential gearbox. So me being young, never being in a real car, like never being on a street car, I didn't know how to shift yet. So I had to learn that very quickly. But, you know, it was such a cool experience. And I feel like the move to cars is, once you get the hang of it, it's really, really fun.
Yeah, I completely understand. Like, I'm driving on my simulator all the time, and it's always so much fun to drive a car.
Oh, yeah, and I think that helps a lot. At the time, I didn't have a simulator, and I think at that time, iRacing was probably just getting going, right? It probably been around for a few years, but it wasn't as big as it is today, and sim racing in general wasn't as big. So I hadn't really experienced that yet. So what we did was we got an old truck with a manual gearbox, and that's kind of how I learned how to drive manual. But
smart.
I think the sim racing nowadays is so beneficial to young drivers to be able to get some feeling of how to drive those cars. And like, for example, I know you on sim now, you are able to use your mirrors. You have to be able to use your mirrors on the sim. You have to know how to shift, how to, do all those kind of things, and I think it's very helpful.
Exactly, yeah. I know I've seen some crazy stuff at the racetrack, and you probably have too. Tell me about your craziest or favorite story from the track.
Oh wow, that's a tough one. You
got a whole list, right?
There's been a few stories. I think some of the funniest ones would be, honestly, from just having, like, I would go to like an indoor karting race, and sometimes in those, for fun, you meet some people that probably take the indoor karting a little more seriously than I was, and they kind of wanted to start a fight maybe with me after, little bumps. So, having when I'm younger and having confrontation with a grown man wanting to fight me, those are interesting interactions.
What are you doing?
Exactly. Yeah, he's like throwing his helmet, and I'm like, I'm just trying to race. So those
so funny.
Those are some funny interactions. Some other ones are like with my teammate. Shout out to Christian Bogle, my roommate. When we were racing together, back in USF, we had a few moments where we kind of tangled on track, and it's a little awkward when a close friend and you are in a little accident and you have to go back to the pits and kind of talk about it. But luckily it was all cool. But those are some more interesting memories. There've been a lot, but
I've had some really funny experiences at the indoor kart track too.
Oh yeah.
Like, there was this one time, I remember it like it was yesterday. I was in the number 10 kart at Unser Karting. It was in the number 10. We were going down the front straightaway, and I think this kid's dad told him to like be aggressive, but he didn't exactly know what that meant. So he pushed me into the wall. The steering column broke, like it full on broke. They got me another free pass to go again. It was crazy. I was
wow.
like, I was traumatized. I didn't know what happened.
Yeah.
He just pushed me into the wall. I was like, hey, what are you doing?
Rental karting can be a lot of fun though. Some of my best memories are just from when my team and I and our other team drivers will just go rental karting and have some fun.
Smash the other guys.
The mechanics probably don't like it at the rental karting tracks because we're definitely not taking care of those karts. But
not at all.
But it's so much fun.
That's the point.
Yeah, that's where you can hit your teammates.
Exactly.
On track, on actual tracks, probably shouldn't be smashing into them.
No, you're gonna flip.
This is where you can take your anger out on your team and your teammates. But all in good fun.
Yeah, it's always a good time.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite racetracks you have driven in competition, and why?
So, that's a tough one because I've been to most tracks in the U.S. I'd say most of the major tracks. There's a few tracks I haven't been to that I still want to go to, like for example Watkins Glen. Still, I haven't been to.
You haven't been to Watkins Glen?
No. IndyCar doesn't race.
That's like
there.
the best one.
I know, I agree, but I think I really like Barber Motorsports Park.
I've never driven that track.
That track's a lot of fun, and it's very well built, and it's not the best for racing, but it's a fun track to drive.
What would you say the flow of that track is? Like, the feel, like, is it kind of like Long Beach where it's like rough, tight?
It's very smooth, actually. It's a very smooth track, but
like VIR?
Always on edge, yeah. Because so many corners are very downforce dependent, but in those open wheel cars, they're almost flat out, so you're always hanging on always like just waiting for the car to kind of break grip, and
That's fun.
It's a lot of fun.
That sounds really fun.
I think racing-wise though, probably COTA, Circuit of the Americas, was probably my favorite track that I've like raced at. I think it's good for racing. You're able to have a lot of good battles there.
I think it's scary. It's intimidating.
Yeah.
Those S's, like those first S's on iRacing, like I don't think they have those like yellow cone looking things anymore, but on iRacing, if you even just graze it, you're into the wall.
Oh yeah.
It's so terrifying. But I was racing there in the Apex Racing League.
Okay.
Not too long ago.
Yeah, that one's a lot of fun. And then street courses, I actually really like street courses. St. Petersburg, probably. I mean, I've only been to Toronto and St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg is a lot of fun, but those are more, for me, just the atmosphere of street courses I think is very cool. I think it's very cool to be in the city, and the fans are very, very energetic and very cool at those tracks. And that's more of an experience type of track. There's always so many bumps, and you never know when you're going to hit a new bump, right? Because every year it's different. So that first practice session, there's always going to be a new bump somewhere.
That's why everyone's super slow in the first practice session.
And you got to be careful. Like the key in street course is just not to crash in practice, because you only usually have that one practice session. So you just got to keep it on track. And that's one reason I like about it. It's just you have to be on edge. You have to be fast, but you can't crash. You can't make mistakes on street courses.
Yeah.
So it rewards the people that, get to that edge, but can just like kind of ride that line of like on edge, but not over it.
I think it's like COTA, it's just intimidating for me. But I do think when I get into a road course in like an actual car, I think that would help me, because when I get to actually experience that feeling of the bumps, like the G-forces and all that, I feel like I'm going to be a lot less intimidated and better. Oh, for sure. I think iRacing is amazing with the physics it has, but until you're able to get on the track, the bumps, they could seem more scary on iRacing, but once you're in the car, you're kind of able to predict them easier from my experience. Like even going for me on iRacing, going to those tracks, it's a lot harder to predict what the car is going to do when you go over even a curb, like you said at COTA. I mean, it's so unpredictable what's going to happen. So yeah, but I mean, when you get enough practice laps, you'll start understanding things in a different way, and you'll get better.
For sure.
What's your vision for the future? Is there anything specific like IndyCar or Formula One, or do you just want to go fast?
Well, everybody has their dream series. Like if I could get to IndyCar, I would love to be in the Indy 500. That would be the ultimate goal for my racing career. But for me, I think if I can be racing for the rest of my professional career and have a long career in it, that's my main goal, is just to find my place and be able to make a living out of it, really. And I think for me, that's kind of where it's changed from the road to Indy and IndyCar to now more of the sports car endurance side of racing.
Okay.
I think it's always been something that I've wanted to do. I've always wanted to be a factory driver for like Porsche or Lamborghini.
That would be awesome.
I think that's very cool that, you just get to represent your favorite manufacturer, your car manufacturer. And so that's kind of where the goal is going to start becoming, is like, I want to be a factory driver. I want to race in the 24 hours to Le Mans and do those big endurance races. I mean, they have some 24-hour races at some really cool tracks like the Nürburgring and Spa and all those places. So I think that's kind of where my end goal is going to be.
I like that. I like those goals.
Also, I would love to just be in the racing industry as a career. I feel like if you want to be a driver, you can only drive for so long in your career. I would love to become at some point a manager or a coach, or have my own team, or do something like that in
like
the
Niki
racing
Lauda.
field. For sure, yeah. Just be the driver. Be the driver, and then once you kind of have to step back from driving, you want to have that other racing field you can step into and continue your career. So
you still be around with racing, just not
for sure.
Just not racing yourself.
Yeah, the racing, like the motorsports world is it's my favorite place ever. Like the track is my favorite place of all time. So
I completely agree.
As long as I can stay at the track, I'm happy. So
if I could live at a racetrack, walk outside my front door and go get in a go-kart and just ride around, that would be
right.
Phenomenal.
I don't know if you've ever been to some tracks, but like I know VIR, they have the house suites on the track.
Oh, really?
So those could be realistic. You could get a house on the track and, you know, maybe pull out your Porsche one day and just go drive around a little bit.
that would be awesome.
Oh, for sure.
I think I'm gonna go drive my Ferrari on track today.
Yeah, just right before, you know, work or school, you know, just go take a few laps around the track.
Just go take a few. Yeah, exactly. That would be awesome.
Oh yeah.
Talk about what your plans and goals are for the 2023 racing season and anything else you'd like people to know.
Yeah, so for 2023, it's going to be a new racing field for me in endurance racing, but after a few days in the LMP3 car, I'm pretty confident we can do quite well. And with everything I've learned so far in my racing career, I'm hoping to, you know, jump into it and be competing for championships. And that's kind of where I want to be, you know, up front. I want to start finalizing the road to becoming a professional, and I want to start, you know, getting to that final step of making teams see that they should hire me, and that's kind of the end goal.
You deserve it.
That's kind of the end goal, to be, you know, getting those teams recognition by the end of 2023.
You heard it, everybody. Wyatt Brichacek, now it's time for the rapid fire question round. Let's go. Favorite word?
Word?
Yeah, favorite word.
Motorsport.
Driver you'd most like to beat, past or present?
Christian Bogle.
Unlimited budget, what's the first car you would buy?
McLaren 765 LT.
What job would you completely suck at?
Teacher. Wait, no. Cook.
Cats, dogs, both or none?
Both, but if I had to choose, dogs.
Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles, 100%.
Do you play any instruments?
I do not.
Any hidden talents?
I wouldn't say I have any hidden talents, no.
What is the world's fastest production car currently?
Is it the Koenigsegg?
Koenigsegg what?
Agura?
No.
I don't know. I'm not.
I mean, you're partially right. You got partial credit. It's the Koenigsegg Jesko.
Oh,
or
yeah,
Jesko,
yeah, okay.
whatever.
That I should have known that.
Yeah, I mean the Regera, that one's really fast. But they outdid themselves.
Right.
Take a moment to tell everyone your socials and just where to find you.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube at Wyatt Brichacek.
All right, everybody, it's time to go into the Extreme Sim Racing Head-to-Head Challenge, where me and Wyatt have 3 laps at Zolder to get our fastest lap in the F3 car. Best lap wins. Let's go. Ready to go head-to-head?
Oh, let's go.
This is the SimMagic Alpha Mini, an amazing direct drive wheel system with features like detailed force feedback. You can feel everything in the steering wheel. Every bump and curb, it tells you where you are and where you're going. And a pin-free quick release system. And it's good for all cases, such as drifting, racing, if you want your own SimMagic Alpha Mini, you can go to extremesimracing.com and use my coupon code Relentless1C, all one word, all lowercase but the number 1, and you can get 5% off anything on that website. Well, Wyatt, it's time.
It's time.
You're going first, like always.
Up first.
Good luck.
Thank you.
So you've gotten some practice laps at this track.
Oh yeah.
Before this head-to-head. How do you feel about the SimMagic stuff?
I think this is the best kind of tech I've used so far. I've used a good amount of different brands of sim equipment, and I think these brakes are personally the best feeling brakes I've used, for sure. And the steering was very cool. I like the displays. It's all very nice, very well done. It's one warm up, then.
So it's this lap. So it's your L lap, 1 warm up lap, and then you got 3 hot laps.
All right, sounds good. All right. Get a good exit. That was close.
So fast.
You'd be faster through there though. Oh, that was deep, that was deep. Oh, no. Alright, it's alright. Still so fast through there. I'm struggling still. No way. No. I choked. I can't believe I did that. No. Oh. Well,
Man.
I gave it all in. It just didn't work out.
I mean,
I messed up that last lap. That's disappointing.
that man's fast
I did
this
a
time.
23.9.
That's not bad. At 23.9, that's not
I messed up in the last corner.
That's
Lost like 3 or 4 tenths there. That's tough.
all right, everybody. Here we are. It is my turn. You did really good, Wyatt.
I feel like you're just gonna do a casual 22.5 or something here real quick.
No, not casual. That's not a casual lap. Wait a minute. I was on the Road America setup. So I'll get 3 warm-up laps in.
Yeah, I'm sure it feels a lot different for you.
Oh yeah. It's not made for this track.
No, there's no downforce on a Road America setup.
How did you? Okay. I think you might win.
No.
No, I'm just saying. I think you might win.
I think you're still good. Still on it.
I don't think I need the warm-up laps anymore. I think we're good.
You're ready to send it.
Yeah, I'm sending it. Like, this is lap 1.
Alright, let's see it.
Yeah! That's a 123.3.
Alright.
Yes! So counterintuitive there. At least they're turning in later because of the downforce.
Oh yeah.
Oh! Oh! Oh!
Oh, nice save, nice save.
Be like half a tenth faster. Yeah.
There you go.
That was not a good T1. Oh, okay, well this lap doesn't count. It's all good though. I won.
Was that your 3rd track? That's your lap.
Yeah, this is the 3rd and final lap.
There you go. Well, good run.
Wow.
Good run. That's quick.
Oh god. Oh no. Oh no.
Victory donuts. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You did it. That's impressive. 23-1 on a 23-2 on a Road America setup. It's a high downforce track with no downforce.
Well, you got a 23.9. That's, and if we're not driving this F3 like as much as I do, at least. Oh god. Oh, those donuts. I'm very impressed with you. You did really well.
Thank you.
I mean, I shouldn't be impressed. You're an Indy Pro 2000 driver. Well, thanks for coming over.
Of course.
Wyatt Brichacek.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
It was fun having you here. Tell everyone again how to find you and your team and anything else like that.
Yeah, just follow me on social media at Wyatt Brichacek Racing or at Wyatt Brichacek on all socials. Catch me there.
See you guys next time. Bye.